Listen, forget what everybody else is saying.
Mm.
Save even when you don't know what you are saving for. Save even when you think that thing you are looking for or that thing you want is out of reach.
Mm.
I'm starting to see more discourse around the pointlessness of saving. People are saying money doesn't even stretch that far for me to be trying to save like that. I need to enjoy life. I want a house deposit, but at my current salary, what's the point? Listen, don't be fooled. Don't buy into the hype. Don't buy into what people are saying. Save your money. You never know when the tide will change. You never know when the economy will shift. You never know when that great opportunity will come that you will have to be ready for to be able to take full advantage of it.
Mm.
Save your money, because even if it's not in 1 year, even if it's not in 5 years, there will come a time where you want to get something done. You want to pay for something. You want to sort something out. You want to make a leap, and you will look up and say, I've actually got enough to make this happen. I've got enough to make things shake.
Mm.
But if you listen to people telling you not to worry about saving because the housing market is shambles and you only live once and you need to enjoy, when these opportunities start coming up, you will be the one with egg on your face.
I thought he was gonna get me there. I thought he was gonna get me there, but he didn't. He said, if you listen to those people who tell you don't save because you only live once, I'm definitely not one of those people. But I do believe saving is a scam, so I gotta come straight correct with that. But here's the thing that's interesting. Even in the verbiage that was broken down inside of the content, you can hear that what is being shared is save so that you can be ready. Right? As one of my coaches often says, Dr. Myron Golden, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And I think that's really what's going on here. The issue we have is saving is a scam, right? And I can break that down even more, even further, just to give you a clear picture of that. But the problem is when people don't know what to do, what should they do? I'm with my guy right here. They should save. Because if you don't know what to do, what else are you going to do? You're going to squander and waste. So I would encourage people who don't know what to do to save until what to do starts to come through for you. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are as well. Do you think you should save, or are you on my page and you believe saving is a scam? Now, we have to break down the whole counsel. Because if we don't break down the whole counsel, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be saying, oh, Samuel said saving is a scam. So Samuel's just like one of those guys who are saying you only live once. No, no, no. I'm saying saving is a scam because I understand there's only three things you can do with money. Now, what I'll do right now is I'll break down all three things and make it very clear. But the thing I usually share with my closest friends, my closest people, I just get real clear with them. And I say to them, listen, if saving is not a scam, when you save your money in a bank, what would the bank do? The bank will go and save their money in another bank just like you. But the bank don't do that. Why don't they do that? Because saving is a scam. Now, if you are going to be investing and the purpose of you stockpiling resources, the purpose of you getting together revenue, the purpose of you putting together your rupees, your pounds, your dollars, your yen, whatever you've got to spend, is so that you can invest, then we're talking about a completely different thing. So let me break down the three things you could do with money. They're the only three things you could do with money. You can't do any other things with money. You can't even save. Saving is not a concept that is actually real. And once you understand what I'm about to reveal, you're going to see that for yourself and you'll know that it's real. The first thing you can do with money is I spilled the beans already. You can invest it. You can invest your money. Okay. You can invest your money. What is investing your money? That's utilizing what you have in order to have more. Okay. The Bible says it very powerfully. Matthew 25, beautiful passage. It basically says in the conclusion of that parable, it says, to he who has more will be given, but to he who does not have, even the little he has will be taken away from him. So you can invest. That's the first thing you can do with money. Second thing you can do with money is you can waste it. Okay, you can waste it. How do you know that, Samuel? Again, let's go back to Matthew 25. What happens in that parable? In that parable, the individual who has something small, one talent, which is taken away from them, that one talent is the paradox, or is the parable paradox of, and he who does not have what he has, the little he has, will be taken away from him. He's the paradox. Now, how comes he becomes the paradox? He becomes the paradox because he hid what he had instead of put what he had to work. So this is something we've got to understand. If you don't know how finance works, It's incumbent upon you to figure out how it works so you can put your finance to work. And what happens with most people is they don't know how it works. They do what everyone else says works. And then they wonder why they have a situation where they're living like everyone else who's not happy with themselves. If you don't want to live like everyone else who's not happy with themselves, you've got to do something else. This is logic, right? 101. So that's what has to happen. And the only way that's going to happen is when we get to a place where we start to realize within ourselves, okay, look, I've been scammed. I've been learning about savings from school and I can't use school tactics to achieve non-school outcomes. I want to be financially free. Guess what? Financial freedom is a non-school outcome. Your secondary school, primary school teacher was not teaching you anything about financial freedom unless you had Mr. ICanWin, who was kind of that. I was kind of shifting off the curriculum. I'm gonna hold my hands up. My old students will tell you he was kind of shifting off the curriculum, right? So that's the first thing. You can't use school tactics to achieve non-school outcomes. So you can invest money, you can waste money, right? The third thing, I know some of you are going to say it in the comments, oh, but Samuel, you can save money. You cannot save money, right? Why can you not save money? Because there's only three things you could do with money. And the third thing you could do with money outside of investing money and wasting money is spending money. Spending money is equal in your perceptual mind exchange. So it's entirely subjective. Please bear that in mind. Spending money is when you take your resource and you trade it, you barter it for something else which you believe is of equal or more value, right? And 9 times I say equal or more is because most people are not going to trade their resource for something they think is of less value, right? So let's just get that idea in our head. They're the three things you can do with money. Now, Samuel, how can you say you can't save money? I was taught in school I can save money, all right? The reason you know you can't save money is because when you do the math, okay, not when we think in our mind, but when we do the math. And the reason we can't think in our mind about this thing is because our minds have been brainwashed by schools, okay? And I know this because I used to be a teacher trainer teaching teachers how to teach, and I used to be a secondary and A-level math teacher. Now, what do the school curriculums brainwash us into thinking? They brainwash us into thinking we can save money, okay? Now, if there's only 3 things you can do with money, guess what you do? You stop trying to save money and you start discovering and uncovering how to invest money. You start setting yourself up with appreciation when you recognize you're wasting money. You start realizing with realization when you're spending money. You just become clear about what's going on. Why? Because you know what's going on rather than believing a fallacy all night long, right? So let's go into this. Now, let's do the maths real quick. This is super simple maths. So if you're someone who's going to say to me, oh, but Sammy, I don't like maths. Listen, you're okay right now. You're in good hands, right? You got the greatest math teacher you could ever have right now. Let's do this. If you save money in a bank, let's say you take £1,000 and you put it in a bank, and that bank says we're going to give you 1%, okay, 1% on your £1,000. So at the end of the year, they're going to give you £10 on your £1,000. 1% on your £1,000, they're going to give you £10 at the end of 1 year from your £1,000. Now, I know someone's going to say, oh, but you know, there's 4%, 5%. Okay, cool. You do the numbers with your numbers and you're going to be okay. Now, the thing that most people don't account for when they think about saving is something called inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is the rate at which our money gets weaker. Okay? I'm going to say it again in case you need to pick up your pen. Inflation is the rate at which our money gets weaker. So they purport, okay, the royal they purport that inflation works at a negative 3%. But if you go and do your research, you will find many people often say that inflation actually works closer to a 16%, a 25%, okay, in those regions, right? So the people that actually still calculate inflation fresh each year, they will tell you that it's actually 16%, 25%. But if you look at mainstream media, they try to soften the blow and they tell you that inflation is a negative 3%. So what does that mean? That means if you can buy a loaf of bread on the first day of the first month of the year for £1 today, in 12 months from today, on the first day of the first month of the next year, that same loaf of bread is £1 3p because it's losing value. Your money, the item's not losing value. The item is still as valuable. The way you needed bread today is the same way you need bread tomorrow, but the value is being exchanged for the currency. And the currency is losing rate at 3% per year. That's what they tell us. So let's use the number they tell us, okay? If you are living in a world or an economy, let's use that language. If you're living in an economy where your money is getting weaker by 3% every single year, what that basically means is your £1,000 by the end of the year is not worth £1,000. Your £1,000 by the end of the year is worth £970 because it reduced by 3% over the year based on its ability to do things for you. It can do £30 less for you than it could at the start of the year. All right. And this now feeds into a whole bunch of other concepts which are very valuable for those of us who want to develop in our financial world, right? Such as opportunity cost, etc. But we're not going to go into that. Let's stick to the point at hand. So if inflation is working at a negative 3%, your £1,000 today becomes £970 in a year, and you are putting your money in a bank saying you're saving at a 1% interest rate, so your £1,000 today, you get £10 off of that by the end of a year. You do the maths. What just happened? Okay. Are you saving money? Okay. And the answer is no. You now see that you're actually doing one of the three. You're either investing the money, which the answer is you're not, because yes, you're getting £10 on the £1,000, but you're living in an economy where your £1,000 is only going to be worth £970 at the end of the year. So now you've got £980, but you started with 1,000. Oh, snap. What does that mean? We're definitely not investing. So are we spending? Well, you're not spending because you're not making a conscious decision to exchange your £1,000 for £980. You're actually being hoodwinked. Saving is a scam. So because of that, you're not spending. You're not passing that resource over to someone else for something you believe is of valuable, equal, or more wealth. So that leaves us with one pot to place saving in. And that unfortunately is wasting. Most people who are saving are actually wasting. Now, do I agree with the content shared that if you don't know what to do, even if you don't have enough, you should save? You should save because you don't know what to do, not save just because you don't know what you're saving for. I hope this is of value to you. If it is, let me know in the comments below. Side by side with that, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe so you can become a part of the tribe. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video because as I usually say, remember, small keys open up big doors, and I'll see you on the next one. Good day, God bless. Let's go.
Small keys open big doors.